brain slews, slick with ectoplasmic juice.
Ecstatic energy, a fire that fuels our memory.
What genealogy with spiritual topography?
Questions for your answers. We are data necromancers.
So we're riding our bikes.
You riding your bikes.
And we pass over this little bridge. And there's this lady standing on the bridge with her dog on a leash. And she's like looking over the edge of the railing or whatever.
What was she wearing?
I
don't disrupt your vibe, but
she was just
regular clothes.
An old white lady wearing like walking clothes. Nothing remarkable. And she was like, she said in a whisper, she was like, "There's 4 raccoons who can't find water."
Did you stop or were you still going?
I was still going.
Yeah.
And I looked over and I was like, oh, fuck, cute raccoons. And I had been yelling good morning at everybody all morning. Just like, good morning.
Dude,
good
Megan
morning,
is a Super
morning.
Saiyan in the morning.
I am so happy and so ready to go and so just like, fuck, everything's beautiful and glimmering and shining and I'm so excited and lucky.
You were the yin to my yang, baby.
I am the opposite of many people.
I know, but it's amazing.
Yeah.
I would like to absorb it.
Thank you. And yeah, I was getting a lot of smiles back. It was, encouraging my behavior. And so this lady's like, "There's some raccoons." And I'm like, "Go south, my children. Move down river. You will find water." In like a mystical leadership kind of way. And the lady is like, "Don't yell at them, stupid." And I was like, "Have a good day." She was like, "Stupid." She like yelled after me, broke her own rule. She was like, "Stupid." I was like, "What the fuck, lady?" We have been riding our bikes for an hour and we saw water. There is water out there for nature. They just have to find it. The particular place on the creek where these raccoons were, there wasn't any water, but they will find water. And then Aaron and I created this like post-apocalyptic dystopian raccoonian fable where the raccoons are the next intelligent species that are going to take over and create a civilization post-humanity. And like that lady and her descendants become like the raccoon shit cleaners. So she's like a shit cleaner, and then there's like an image of me that's like emblazoned, like an icon like emblazoned in gold, and the raccoons
says, "Go forth."
The raccoons worship me because I was the one who originally told them to like keep seeking. Like, you will find water.
Dude, I remember in the early 2000s at Burger King, you could get Pokeballs, and they had like gold cards in them, like little thick gold shits. And I picture you on like a gold cracker. And, like, everybody holds it open.
And like raccoon, they have like that habit of washing things with their human-like hands, and they're just like, they have this little gold image of me, and it's like, never give up hope. Like, you will find water. You just can't stop looking.
I went camping once, and I was staying in one of those like hammock tents, and I remember feeling what felt like cats up against my back.
The hammock is inside a tent?
The hammock is a tent. It has like a over.
Oh, cool. So your back is the bottom of the tent?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was like I got it at a military surplus store, and I feel what feels like cats going underneath me, and I like unzip the little thing, and there's just raccoons that have broken into our cooler, and they have hands full of grapes. And I'm like, whatever.
And they're like, you weren't gonna eat these, were you?
But just picturing them like picking little, they left the stems.
Yeah.
They just grabbed the grapes. I had more appreciation for them suddenly. I was like, yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I would have
You guys broke into, like, we had like this whole thing, and they just like, done. Done.
There's like a little lock, and they're like listening on it for what
we were witnessing the
400
generation of raccoons at that campsite who had figured everything out.
They're descended from Yogi Bear. The picnic, who taught all of his descendants to swipe picnic baskets. Dude, I want to,
Yogi, have you ever been to the Wisconsin Dells?
I've never been to Wisconsin.
You never been to fucking Wisconsin?
My family comes from there. Wisconsin cheeseheads, right?
I've never really been to the Wisconsin Dells either because I grew up broke as fuck. But like, driving through there's everything's Yogi Bear, Yogi Bear, everything, and you're like, dude, it's been 100 years. Fucking
let it die. Let him go. Wait, is he no? He's different from Smokey Bear, right?
He's different than Smokey Bear.
Smokey Bear is the conscientious one. Yogi Bear is the fucking pilferer of picnics.
Yes. 1950s.
He's opportunistic. I don't blame him. He's like the populations of animals that thrive in human communities, like rats.
There's just things of antiquity that I'm like, okay, that's our culture.
Thanks.
That's our Mona Lisa.
We've
that's
had
our
enough.
fucking Statue of Liberty is fucking Yogi Bear. Welcome to the Midwest.
I live for that shit. It says so much about the cult, like the actual people.
You and I should go to Wisconsin Dells because we stopped at just the most Wisconsin Dellian fucking.
Does Dell mean hill?
Does it?
What's Dell's?
I don't know.
Dell Computers.
Maybe. But we stopped at this Paul Bunyan themed cafeteria style restaurant.
Like, gravy on everything.
It's in an abandoned cabin. Cream corn out the fucking wazoo. Yeah, dude. I was like,
I'm so hungry.
Right now.
That sounds really good, actually. I like those old-timey instances of Americana, and even like the shabby reproductions of like old-timey Americana.
Well, the Midwest is full of them, and South Dakota,
forsooth,
South Dakota and North Dakota also have like a ton of shit for roadside attractions, shitty restaurants, shitty candy stores, just desecrating what was once sacred native land.
Yeah, it's so what we did, what we do,
what we've always done,
what we love. We leave our little imprint there.
There we go. 8 minutes in.
Erase everything.
8 minutes in. Cheers.
8 minutes in. That's
I can't watch war shit before bed anymore, man. It is just so.
Add that to the list of things you shouldn't do before bed.
I watched about 25 minutes and I had absorbed so much information about World War II, and I was like, that's my max. 25 minutes of straight facts.
What stuck out the most aside from the death count?
How many innocent people died? I mean, it was just a lot of like rural Chinese, rural Poland. Just everybody was a fucking victim. Nobody wanted it. And it's just one asshole spreading a fucking.
You're talking about Hitler, right?
I'm talking about Hitler. I can't get it. But then, okay, this brings me up.
Yeah.
Okay, fractured, pull them in, smooth it out for people to follow.
Here it comes.
You came over the other day, you fed me dinner real quick, and we were talking about how there seems to be, I call them packing peanuts of the Matrix. Most people
you can call them NPCs.
Most people you meet. Yeah, and then what does NPC stand for? Non-person character or something like that. Somebody who's not in control, they're just programmed. Right. And there's a lot of them. And it's the reason why group hive mentality, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And you are asking why there is a finite amount of the light. Yeah, when you said that, Murphy farted, but please continue. So I'm speaking the truth. Yeah, the truth fart has sounded. I'd like to know people on the chats. So there's finite juice. There's finite juice. You see flocks of birds, schools of fish. People can just tap into the wave and like not think and move and not do or stand up for themselves or see. Like, man, when you start whistleblowing on people and your neighbor, the only thing you should ever whistleblow your neighbor for is dead bodies or pedophilia. Everything else to me is like, not your business. Not my fucking business. Protect a child or protect another person's from being viciously murdered intentionally. Everything else, no. I've got your back is what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, if I discover a terrorist cell
with plans to blow up something, then yeah, I'm gonna tell somebody about that.
But are you gonna be like, oh, they're hiding the racially inferior?
What do you mean? Like people who are harboring war, like
hiding Jews.
Yeah.
Harboring.
So you're saying like German people who are like, you can't hide Jews. I'm telling the Führer. That's what you mean?
Yeah, turning other people in. I don't know.
Yeah, of course. Oh God.
But like
I'm not
why?
gonna call up ICE and say somebody doesn't have citizenship. Like fuck, what?
Well, that's the beauty about myself being an anarchist is like, well, just let the whole fucking thing burn. Who cares? Like,
yeah, it's
do
not
you
my
need help?
job to enforce these backwards ass laws.
But Lucas and I have consistently for the last 5 days talked about why there is a finite amount of juice.
Lay it on me.
I don't know. Like we haven't quite figured it out.
Huh.
There's something inherent about it that's like totally logical in my mind. Like, yeah, there's X amount of juice in a cup. The cup is only so big. The rest of it is empty space. There's something like quantum.
Well, the concept of juice is interesting, and I'd like to suss out what it means. But I'm thinking of something that's like, when you mentioned the birds and the fish and stuff, I was like, oh, well, that's different from juice. That's different because it's like safety in numbers. It's like these are all really tiny guys, and they'll survive better if they stick together. You know?
But maybe you could imply that to like hive mentality. Like I always picture an uprising at Target. You're stuck with 60 people in there. I'm terrified because I know that I can't trust most of those motherfuckers.
What's the situation? Is it a hostage situation?
You're trapped in a Target. The doors are locked, and
You and a group have to figure out.
everybody who's in the Target has to figure out. Like, I'm already worried that people are ready to cannibalize.
Okay.
They're fucking freaking out. Nobody has confidence, and like most people instantly fucking freak. Like, that's most people.
Yeah,
I've
they're
seen
like,
it in a
what should
lot
we
of-
do? I don't know what to do. Like,
And they need one
who's
person
leading
to
us?
tell them.
Who's doing this? Yeah, and I feel like with animals, it's more like a survival thing. Yeah, where they see the well-trodden path, and they're like, well, that must be well-trodden for a reason.
We should eat them because
That
everybody else.
seems like a good idea. But then there's other personality types, and they're less common, which are the people who are like the pathfinders, or like the animals who will, you know, throw caution to the wind and do the unsafe thing because they have a hunch that it's going to be fruitful.
This was another example.
Yeah.
I do not have specifics on where I read this. I should start taking note of sources.
I'm going
It was
to buy
in the
you one of
news.
these books.
This is in the news, and I guess the news, they're owned by 2 companies anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Rupert Murdoch.
There's stuff coming out about there being a barricade in Maui because they were trying to fix something, and they barricaded people. And there's a bunch of people coming out saying like, you guys fucking you murdered people because you wouldn't let them out. And then there's people who broke away from the street to break through the barricade on another side. That's a big part of the reason why people were starting to jump into the ocean, is because they didn't have access to the road. And then the government's denying it, and the mayor of Maui is like, no.
Didn't somebody already step down? Somebody like in the response team?
Well, there's like this whole can of worms being opened. Like, they knew that they were at risk for a wildfire, and then there were bureaucratic red tape to like move water from one part to this part to like make sure. There's like all sorts of stuff coming out. But those people who broke away from the barricade, which would be me, if I've got my kids in the car and we're stuck and Earth is on
there's
fire,
a fucking fire. We're going forward.
We're getting out. Those people made it, and a lot of other people died, and then they're trying to cover it up like people often do when they make mistakes, because otherwise they're gonna have to pay out the ass for being like, yeah, oh, we were fixing it, but the protocol was, red tape. It wasn't intentional, but it was like, wow, you guys just really weren't.
Our hands were tied. We had to put this in. This is what the law said. It's like your fucking laws don't make any sense when it comes to saving people's lives.
When I was in labor with Ruby, I got a gun pulled on me by a cop because,
no shit.
They had blocked off 130, the toll road, and I was in labor, so we're going to the place to give birth, and they've just whole police barricade, and I'm like, of course, I've never seen one of these before, and I'm about to give birth. And
holy shit.
Lucas is like, what do you want me to do? And I was like, just drive up slowly on the shoulder because we need to go talk to them, because whatever the fuck is happening, we need to figure out what's happening. Well, if you're pulling up on cops and you're not complying and you're bypassing all the traffic, everybody starts screaming at us and shouting at us. I'm like, just roll down the windows, but we're going slow. We're not like, we're just going to crash into these people.
Damn.
They pull their guns on us. And I was like, I'm in labor. I scream out the window, I'm in fucking labor, you fucking idiots.
God.
And the woman's like, oh, I'm sure. And I said, do you want to see my cervix? Oh, no need for that. And I'm like, no need to pull out your fucking gun right now. This is how people die, is because it is inherent to be defensive and to protect my life. It is not inherent to comply and just be like, yeah. I'm just going to give birth in this Subaru STI. It's exactly what I envisioned. And I find out they have it blocked because they're like,
there's a parade or something.
Yeah, it was just like, well, we're just trying to get this big truck down the road. And I was like,
great. I'm trying to get this big truck out of my fucking uterus. Gee whiz. I didn't know that you had been accosted by the boys and girls in blue.
Well, after a little bit of talking and my snarky remarks, it's like, can we
here's some amniotic fluid, would you?
Can we get off at this exit? Is that okay? Do you need to phone a fucking officer?
Call the governor.
God, for the love of fucking, but none of them can think. Oh, well, I don't know.
We had some orders. We were given a set of orders.
But I mean, when on the count of 10, just fucking gun it. I'm so done with these idiots.
When you work for a system, a hierarchical system like that, if the hierarchy or the people start to go AWOL or whatever, then the whole thing falls apart. That sucks. Those people get paid a lot of money just to fucking direct traffic.
Yeah, I have a lot of thoughts. I'm gonna keep them. I'm gonna keep.
You don't want to go on the cop?
No.
On the cop thread?
No, I don't want to go on the cop thread. I don't need a document.
Good morning, officer. Was I driving weird? I have the hiccups. It's so strange.
Lucas, once we were hooliganing in a car. We get pulled over by a state trooper, and the state trooper just handed Lucas a application. You should really think about joining, son. And I'm like, what? That's weird.
That is weird.
Also, Lucas doesn't give off state trooper vibes.
All his whole arms are tattooed. I feel like that's...
I'm like, y'all are that desperate? Did you pull us over just to recruit
You just
us?
recruiting people now? That's so wild. Yeah, my family has always had a rather negative view, but not wholly. My family was mostly fear and respect when it came to cops, because my mom had a boyfriend who had police dogs set loose on him while he's handcuffed, and they just tore up his legs. And my family has been in and out of jail and prison and stuff, so it's most my dad's whole thing after losing his license from getting so many DUIs and just being in trouble.
Dude, our dads should have gotten married.
I know.
And our mom should get married.
But his thing was just I am never doing anything ever again to arouse any level of suspicion or investigation in my direction. So he would just drive super slow, never in a rush anywhere, never breaking any rules, just out of this fear of like from his past experiences, like I never ever want to come in contact with cops ever again. So there was never any like, fuck the police, like they fucking put me away all these times. It was just like, stay away from them. Stay away from them and then you'll be safe.
That's scary.
But yeah, whenever we'd play Grand Theft Auto,
There were
me
Twisted
and my
Metal?
brother and my dad and my uncle Johnny, we would just fucking destroy cops the whole time.
That's the beauty of the video game. Live in an alternate dimension for just take out all your.
When it
your
was
anger.
my turn though, like they would all just like post up somewhere and kill as many people as they could. And my thing was like, oh, it's my turn. I would like wait until I saw a specific type of car and then I'd steal it. And then I would just like pretend I was in that world, like follow the traffic lights and like
They're like,
turns
Megan,
and
it's
stuff.
not the fucking Sims.
My brother would be like, you need to fucking die soon because it's my turn. You need to do something. It was so fun. I tried to get my Xbox up and running yesterday.
Dude, can you tell me really quick again what happened? Because it's like you did the biggest no-no, which is having your iPhone choose the password for you. It's like, I don't understand when it asks me that. I'm like, no,
It was
I don't want
huge
you to.
mistake. Huge. I created like rubbishcook@hotmail.com as my like Microsoft login so I could, buy games and have this account. And whatever I was on was like, would you like us to generate a strong password for you? And I was like, yeah, bitch, if you save it. But it was something ridiculous that I'll never ever be able to guess, and I don't know where it's saved, if it's saved at all. So every time I try and recover and like make a new password, it's like, oh, I'll just tell you exactly what it says because I tried yesterday and it didn't work again.
Never mind. We'll do that after the pod. I was like, let me hack your mainframe real quick.
It says, we recently received a request to recover your Microsoft account, rubbishcook@hotmail.com. Unfortunately, our automated system has determined that the information you provided was not sufficient for us to validate your account ownership. Microsoft takes the security and privacy of our customers very seriously, and our commitment to protecting your personal information requires that we take the utmost care in ensuring that you are the account owner. So I'll never be able to recover it. Because it's like, what was one of the passwords that you had in the past? It's like, I never had a password besides this one. And they're like, what do you do with your account? I'm like, I've never done anything with my account. I just made it. So I'll never be able to recover it. I have to start fresh. Maybe do rubbish cook with zeros instead of O's. I don't know.
Rubbish cock.
Or kook. I could do rubbish kook. Kook.
I have one thing I can check, but we'll do it after the pod.
She's gonna hack the fucking IRS mainframe. Matrix quote is emerging. It's a Matrix quote.
She's birthing
Trinity.
a Matrix quote, everybody.
Trinity, shit. I thought you were a guy. Most guys do. Because she meets him in the club in the first one. You've seen them all, right?
I've seen the first and the second.
Heard.
The
Revolutions is pretty good.
I think I remember you not too long ago sending me a selfie of you crying because it was on at the airport.
Yeah. It made me feel so grounded and just like happy before I embarked on my trip.
I've never seen the Matrix plane at anywhere near the airport.
Shit.
So
I was
clearly
just like
God
walking,
was
looking
just
for a
like,
place to grab something to eat, and I saw like the key maker or something, and I was like, I'm gonna eat here. And I had like a cheeseburger and a glass of wine, and I was just like crying in the airport from joy, and like it was incredible.
abundance.
I was like, my cup overfloweth right now. I'm so stoked. Wait, so did you want to talk about the 8 circuits of consciousness?
So I was going to bring up the 8 circuits of consciousness, which pulls from a lot of different people, a lot more authors than I anticipated. The first 4 circuits are, it talked about being a terrestrial being, and the first 4 circuits have to do with being of this earth, and then the latter 4 are extraterrestrial and our quest to get off this planet and to explore space and elevate our consciousness, essentially. However, when I went to go reference, I was like, oh, this book I have talks about this. I opened up the book and I'm like, it's the whole book. Never mind.
I think it was helpful for my comprehension of what the 8 circuits of consciousness represent. I changed the word circuits to systems because I think circuits in my imagination sort of, they reference more of like a loop or something, and I don't think that's really part of it. So I don't know. System helps me understand.
There's biosurvival is the first one. Emotional territorial is the second one. Laryngeal manual is the third. Sociosexual is the fourth. Fifth is the neurosomatic. Sixth is the neuroelectric. Seventh is the neurogenic. And eighth is the neuroatomic. I like Timothy Leary's breakdown of this. He tells you how much acid you have to do to get to the next one.
Yeah, that's another question I have. Aren't they all existing at once in a body?
I thought they were all existing and you... Hold on, let me just...
They exist within you, but you don't experience them all the time?
The 8th circuit model of consciousness is a holistic model originally presented as a psychological philosophy. And it suggests 8 periods or circuits within the model. This model has been described as a potential route towards reconciling different interpretations of what it means to be a human being. The 8 circuits or systems or brains, as referred to by other authors, operate within the human nervous system. Each corresponds to its own imprint and subjective experience of reality. They include 3 stages for each circuit, detailing developmental points for each level of consciousness. This model lacks scientific credibility. Well, it's like, of course, because it's like really fucking unhinged, which is my middle name.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was listening to a thing where Robert Anton Wilson was talking about the 8 circuit thing, and just listening to him speak about it, I was like, oh, okay.
Did you know he cryogenically froze his daughter in hopes that he could...
What? Why? What happened to her?
His daughter worked at a jewelry store and it was robbed and she was killed.
Oh my God.
And she was 15 and her brain was cryopreserved. So Robert Anton Wilson is a prolific, I don't know, would you call him sci-fi writer?
He's a sci-fi writer?
Well, I don't want to say anything without... He's an American author, a futurist, a psychologist, and a self-described agnostic mystic. And the way he talked about parenting was so fucking cool to me. I was like, this dude got it.
I'm going to go find a book by him right after this.
I have several if you want them.
Dude.
Yeah, his daughter... they must still have her brain. Luna's parents, her name was Luna, decided to cryopreserve her brain to say no to death. They intended this as a way to preserve her life and make a statement against the person who took her life to steal just a few dollars. They hope that she will be able to live again through cloning and preservation of her memories in her brain. Luna's brain was recovered by the Bay Area Cryonic Society and frozen by TransTime. She is the first brain-only cryonics patient in the world without the skull being preserved, and the second neuropreservation patient in overall.
That is so cool. What do you think about that? Would you preserve your kid's brain and then clone them from it?
No, because I firmly believe in the great beyond, and I don't believe in attachment to this body, but I can feel like your 15-year-old daughter is working at a store and she gets fucking senselessly murdered. to me, they're like saying, fuck you. Like, we're saving her. They both died. Obviously, we don't really have... I'm not exactly sure where the cryogenics stuff is. I don't... If it was successfully done, I feel like we would have heard about it by now.
Wait, Robert Anton Wilson is dead?
Yeah, he died.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I feel like I just discovered him today.
Yeah. Cool dude, righteous dude, has said a lot of profound stuff that really resonated with me, which is why we have so many of his books.
So which circuit, which sort of level of neurological consciousness system?
Oh, wait, let's go back to the thing that you watched. Sorry, because that's when I brought up...
Robert Anton Wilson.
Yes.
Well, so he was describing the different circuits. All information pours in, and our systems rush to interpret. We can't perceive everything all at once. Therefore, each of us has this like reality tunnel, because we are basically experience instruments.
Yes.
You know, like we have all of these different instruments to like gather different information, and some people love information. Infophilia is what he called it, and there's like a spectrum where you're infophilia or infophobia, and everybody's like on there somewhere between the two extremes. And that had something to do with the way that you gather information and process information in your reality tunnel. Beyond that, I mean, he was just talking about like different psychedelic experiments and like the different ways that drugs affect your neurological systems and your experience of reality. And let's see. Comparative realities. The machine that reads reality is the nervous system. Neurochemical accidents lead to mystical experiences. Very cool stuff. And it's not something that I've delved in as deeply as you have, for sure. Because you've done like the psychedelic trip stuff, like the Tim Leary turn on, tune in, drop out stuff. And I've done
myself into a dark
couple
room.
times, but never as deliberately as your neuronaut self. So what can you how can you elucidate?
I think I never would have had kids. I think my marriage probably would have failed by now. I became a completely different person because...
Yeah, and that's what they say. It's like rewriting your wiring or sort of re-imprinting.
And it's funny too, though, because recently it was brought up with Lucas and someone else about how you can't demand drugs to just... or assume that drugs are going to change and have this like crazy assumption that they're going to do all the work for you. And I was like, oh no. But then thinking about it, I've met a lot of people like that who will do buttloads of DMT, but they're still just like totally fucking not aware of what they're doing. Their art is fine. You know, they just...
Do you want to come back?
Kind of like the stoner mentality. Like, well, if I smoke a bunch of weed... morning, noon, and night. It's like, yeah, you don't get it, do you? Just don't get it.
Yeah, and that's something that Robert Anton Wilson brought up too, how every drug has a different effect on different people. Mm-hmm. So like if one person can use psilocybin to achieve this like new outlook on reality, another person, it'll just make them throw up and step on a snail and then
not do anything, or not give them that same like profound realization.
Yeah, it's like different. It's like in Zen Buddhism practice, the koan, it's like a sentence that someone utters to you or that you read that's supposed to like snap you into realization. And I feel like the drugs are just like a different sort of method to snap you into awareness of reality.
Yeah, sometimes it's gonna stick and sometimes it just fucking won't, you know?
Yeah.
I always wonder this too about how many practitioners of Zen Buddhism or all the different factions of enlightenment that there are. There's what's that fucking badass nun who like talks about fucking God through meditation all the time?
Is her name
Hildebrand?
Rimpak Zordaban?
Hildegard of she's a saint.
Let's go.
Hildegard of Bingen.
Bingen?
Dude, I cannot wait to give you the mother mantra book for you to read, because it's like you wrote it because this person just like ditched everything that they were doing to go from like Iraqi magician Sherpa to fucking like they just like did the whole religious thing because
I just got a soul boner.
Swing. But how
wait.
many monks don't fucking get anywhere? Like, there's got to be a percentage that are just like, oh, I've been.
Of course, because we talk about the packing peanuts of our civilization.
How many NPCs are fucking shaving their heads?
How many monk NPCs are there? There's got to be a ton, because some people will like think they've grasped the idea of clinging and attachment, but then they find that they're still like clinging to the idea of clinging and attachment and like chasing. I don't know. There's such a large realm, such a wide variation of what we're doing and who we are.
I figured out, Lucas took a picture of me on Aaron's porch in Costa Rica with this like, I look exactly like Neem Karoli Baba.
Yeah.
And I'm making like the same face, and he tagged Neem Karoli Baba's like Instagram, and they like met. They're like, yeah. Which was the funniest thing to this date. That I will send you the picture. It's funny because it was like me just like making this weird face and in this blanket. But the reason why he resonated so well with me didn't make sense until one of the more recent Ram Dass lecture episodes. There's a word for it. I don't remember it, but he practiced, it's essentially called go away. Like, he was enlightened. He could tell you exactly what you dreamt about last week on Tuesday. He knew who was going to die. He was like one of those fucking really cool gurus.
Is this the one who was talking to Ram Dass about his mother's kidney or whatever? Or
like Ram Dass has an infamous story about like just this horrible trudge to get to the middle of the fucking Himalayas in a 1965 Jeep, and these women wouldn't get out or whatever, and like the second they finally got there, Neem Karoli Baba was like, Ram Dass is mad because the ladies wouldn't get out of the car. Like, he just started shouting what, and Ram Dass was like,
how do you know?
Oh my God, how do you fucking know that?
How do you know my mind?
But that's how prolific he was, and he was just laughing his ass off because he's like, oh, Mr. Holy Man, can't keep it together. Like,
but didn't he also like take a ton of his drugs and was
took a whole
completely
thing of acid
unaffected?
And was like, is this what you guys are so
like,
fucking...
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great.
He took like a lot of drugs.
A year later he asked for more. But like the practice of go away, like he had no worships, there was no following. Like obviously there were people that would come and feed him and wanted to be near him, and he let like a couple people do that, but there was no cultish ideology, there was no worship. He told you to get away from him, and I was like, yeah. Like that's the only way you could be, to me, saintly, is if you're like, there's no book here, just keep going. Like,
that's cool.
Come back and tell me how it was to sit with your dying father
it's
or
like,
whatever.
If you focus on me, then you're not focusing right.
Exactly.
You're gonna get distracted. Like, this is not, you're not gonna get it if you just want to follow me around.
Exactly.
That's pretty cool. I like that a lot.
I like that a lot too. I'm like, God damn it, he died. He's fucking dead. Fuck. That'd be so cool to just like...
Everybody fucking die. Everybody keeps fucking dying. What are we going to do about that?
My favorite bumper sticker. I gotta buy it. I love aging and dying. I was like, no, but yeah. I wanted to meet it was at Central Market. It was 2 bumper stickers. One that said, been nowhere, done nothing. It's like, fuck yes. And the other bumper sticker was, I heart aging and dying. I was like, fuck yes.
Was it a Subaru?
No, it was like some old piece of shit car.
Oh, nice. I love it.
So even better. Like
Yeah.
even more just like.
It's like, damn, they get it.
Lucas found the bumper sticker that says, you know, the coexist ones that are like,
Yeah.
made? It says corn dog. It's like the most, because you're like corn dog, like it's like just the most perfect little like spin on it.
It sounds amazing. I want that. I've always been very like bumper sticker or vanity plate averse. Like I have nothing to broadcast.
Do you remember?
That's that important.
No.
But those are all really.
Do you remember when I found or nor?
Yeah. We're being watched.
Did you want to bring up, we had another topic and now we're 45 minutes into it, but that's okay.
Why have infinite time.
You wanted to, we do have infinite time. We were talking about astrology and the death of, like, it became this media hype. It became newspaper horoscopes telling you which butt plug you're gonna buy on what day. And
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
I read about that. You sent me that thing and I read through it and I thought it was interesting how prolific it was prior to. Some people thought it was heliocentrism and like the acceptance that the sun was the center as opposed to the earth.
Well, and I don't know enough about because like Galileo was like,
but that brings
astrology
up
was huge.
Another point that I wanted to touch on that was like the difference between like horoscope astrology versus like celestial influence.
The fucking thing that I sent
like
you.
The thing that probably all of these scientists and philosophers were interested in as far as astrology goes, and that's like how the celestial bodies affect us and our activities as opposed to like, you know, what predictions they can make.
None of them care about.
I thought that was really interesting, but I also I always go back to like, no, Mercury in retrograde just is a visual phenomenon because our rotation is the way that it is and Mercury's rotation is the way that it is, so it's apparently moving backwards, but it's just sort of like a trick of our eyes. So there's so many things like that where it's like, no, it's just visually it looks like it's different, but it's not, you know?
I can't get over how many pyramids and ancient sites are all dedicated to the stars.
Yes, absolutely.
And
you can't ignore that.
You can't ignore that. And then like the turd nuggets, the deep fried turd nuggets we get now are so far from anything.
Yeah, and also like the orientation of all of these like sacred ritualistic sites on the days of the solstice or the days of, you know, the equinox, like all of those celestial events that have great ritual importance. But if you think like, okay, it's pre-modern era, there's no electricity, we have to do all of our business when the sun is up, and then when the sun is down, our imaginations run wild because our bodies are exhausted from working all day. So we're gathered around this fire, and like one of our elders is regaling us with tales based on the pictures that we can make out in the sky, you know, the pictures that the stars form. Like that is TV. Before TV, like that was before people started writing stuff down. It was just like this vast and varied oral tradition of like, you know, what's his fucking name, Orion, Athena, all the mythology that goes along with the shapes, the perceivable shapes in the sky. But then you think about the stars that make up the constellations, they're not near each other. They just appear to be near each other when we see them. Like some of the stars that make up constellations don't even occupy the same part of space. They're just like apparent. So that's always been my main contention with how the celestial bodies would affect us.
But what about like the moon affecting the tides of the ocean?
That is definitely a thing.
And to me, technology won't catch up for a fucking long time. You know,
right. You always have to have like a substance or a medium through which things can be affected. And I think that's the biggest difference between like empirical science and then like the spooky woo-woo that we're into, where you're like, I don't know the method. I know that it happens, but I don't know how or why. And so it's like, okay, the effect of the moon on the earth is based on gravity, and we are familiar with the force of gravity. We don't know everything about it. It seems like it's spilling over from another dimension where it's more powerful, and we don't really know what that means. But yeah, we kind of understand what gravity does and what it's for, but we can't answer any other questions about like celestial influence or like what starlight would mean at a certain time of year, or how it would change our behaviors.
Well, yeah, and how would you even, it's like you didn't know infrared existed until you came up with
the whole range of electromagnetic radiation, like stars. Demeter, her daughter, Persephone, spring, fall. She's punishing us.
And then there's like this constant, to me, this like screaming thing of how our perception and our limited perception and our manifestation is inherently like,
it's flawed. It's
fucking flawed. And we come up with quantitative measurements and units. And I found out recently, Ruby found a little Lego version of me that somebody gave me a long time ago, and she's like, look, Mom, you're Cubix.
What?
And I was like, what the fuck is a Cubix? And then Lucas was like, that's an Egyptian form of measurement. I actually don't know if he was fucking with me now.
Like cubits?
Cubix.
Oh. It sounds a lot like the other things we've talked about before.
Cubit is an ancient unit of length.
Yeah.
It was associated with the Sumerians. Is she trying to say cubit?
Ruby, can you say it again, sweetie?
Oh, I want to show you. Look at this. I'm going to frame this today. This is her first piece of art that I really like.
Whoa.
There's something like Mother Mary futuristic about it.
It's like
I just love it. It's the first time she's colored in the lines, I think, which is why I like it so much.
But I also love the way like the black smudges with the pink and the like color variation that you get. That's gorgeous.
Nobody else thinks this is remotely interesting, but Teresa said there's something atmospheric about it. And I was like, yeah!
It seems like a tunnel, if I can impose.
Yeah, please.
It seems like one of those grottos that you find a statue of the Virgin in, like a little alcove, which is like symbolic for...
Would you see on people's front lawns sometimes?
Yeah. I love seeing little Mary, the Virgin of Guadalupe.
I asked her, I was like, what is this? She's like, I don't know, a taco or something. I was like, bitch, don't even. Like,
it's a wormhole. You know it is.
So I'm like, oh, you're playing fucking hard to get right now. Whatever.
It is somewhat familiar of a taco.
Yeah, that kind of taco.
A flesh taco, if you must. Fertility goddess.
Oh, dude, I went fertility goddess. Fertility goddess.
Should I go pee now or wait till the end of the broadcast?
How bad is it?
I could probably wait.
Real quick, we have a few more minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, sick. I went and...
Now everyone knows.
She has to pee. Do you have to pee?
Where are you gonna go? What did you say?
I went and filmed this Texas vintage motorcycle museum.
Oh yeah.
This is like something fun to kind of go do, and I wasn't super excited about it. It's not like the kind of content that makes me
Is that what you just posted?
No.
Okay.
I filmed this on Sunday.
Nice.
And this guy he's a little ornery. He's a little mad at me because I was late. But I was like, you don't check your fucking email or do anything, you hermit. Anyways, he was kind of bumming because he had been a writer for a motorcycle magazine for a long time. And they had just kind of fired him. And I was like, oh, why? And he's like, well, I printed out the essay if you want to read it. And I was like, yeah, dude, hand it over. He was a whistleblower for a huge New York investment company during the subprime mortgage fallout, the big bailouts, the housing crisis of 2008. And he worked at AIG, and he said he was like, I was ahead of the department that was like perpetuating the fraud, but he was like, suddenly I didn't know what to do. And his neighbor, he lived in Houston, was a chief executive at Enron.
Oh shit.
And had just gotten locked up for years in federal prison and he was like, man, it was always weird seeing his lavish lifestyle, but he was my friend and our kids played together, and you just don't dig and you just don't pry about that sort of stuff.
People in your proximity, you're like, I can't fuck this. This is my neighbors.
And so he saw his friend get carted off and thrown into jail, and he was like, oh fuck, I gotta do so. He's like, I felt like it was the ethical thing to do versus like just burying my head in the sand. And so he followed the AIG code of ethics in their manual. They had a whistleblowing procedure. And so he did that, and then he was severely retaliated against.
Of course.
And was subsequently fired for blowing the whistle. And then he hired a really, really fancy lawyer, and they settled outside of court. And so he took that settlement money, and now he owns 85 motorcycles.
Whoa. But he was fired from AIG, not a motorcycle riding company?
He was recently, a week ago, fired because they're like, what's your favorite bike? We don't want to read about this. And I was like, this is gold. I suddenly am now excited to talk to you, because at first I was like, I don't really want to sit and talk about, I don't know, your favorite bike or whatever. They're all cool.
Did his whistleblowing were there any like larger repercussions other than his excommunication?
He thought it was going to be, but he said the settlement money was such a large sum that he no longer had to worry about being rehired, working for another company, because whistleblowers are often ostracized, especially if you were trying to jump into another career. Which I'm like, that's so weird. To me, it's like the most patriotic thing to do.
Absolutely.
Blow the lid on fraud. These are the modern day kings and queens.
Right.
Fuck them over.
Yeah.
You know, and then we talked about how I just got into this with the computer fixer man.
Yes.
When he was like, we
Cool
need government
dude.
regulation. I was like, bitch, it's been there. It's just not in your favor.
It's corrupt.
It's the federal bailout system completely demolishes a free market and capitalism. When the government's always like, oh no, it's chill, I got you. Yeah.
You're not good this summer. Here you go. I got that. No, you're not good. You're not good yet. Here you go.
Like, you don't think the fucking pharmaceutical companies are in bed with every fucking state government known to? It's like, dude, come on. It's just, they don't care about us. Nobody does.
Is it just to ensure that they'll continue to make a profit, or is it like, are there periods of time when it's not profitable and they're being like propped up?
I think there is so much profit, and so it's crazy. Oh God, here we go. 2 minutes left. Like, to see emails leaked from
Snowden.
To see Snowden's leaked emails. To see emails of pharmaceutical heads of people who are perpetuating opiate addiction
Because it's profitable.
And they're like, yeah, who cares?
Oh, what's 2 million people?
There's a big, large peanut recall in the early mid-2000s that killed kids. Like, they went to the peanut facility, and
Peanut butter,
it was just like fucking disgusting. And
Oh.
but they have all this evidence of the CEO being like, I don't care. I'm not having the rat guy come out again. What do I pay him for? Send the shit out to Nabisco and put it in your cookies. And it's like he knowingly killed children, but he doesn't care. Like, they don't care. They're so isolated and create such large wedges between them and the horrific stuff. It's like these kids are just eating a cookie.
Yeah.
But you don't want to pay the rat guy. Oh, okay, cool. That's great. You suck.
Yeah, that's the opposite of how a leader should behave.
Yeah, it's gross.
It's like if you can't do your job in a way that it's like beneficial for your customer, or, you know, like, what are you even doing? You should go honor kill yourself. That's the only way you can redeem.
Shinpaku. Seppuku. I think Shinpaku is a type of sake. Seppuku.
It's my favorite type of sashimi.
Is that inside onigiri?
Yuzu Kosho.
Oh God, sorry. I'm gonna go perform
No,
Senpaku
she's
now.
not. She's breathing for 2. You may not stop breathing. You don't get that luxury.
Dude, I had such an upset stomach yesterday. I was like dying. It was time to put Ruby down to sleep, and I'm just like reading the books, just like, fuck.
Oh no.
Dying. I farted a fart that I thought maybe only a dead person would feel when every molecule leaves their body at the same time. It scared me. Lucas heard it across the house. Ruby,
The foundation shifts.
Ruby was breathless. And I have a child who doesn't laugh a lot. Like, she's giggling, whatever, but like, it's really hard to make her laugh really hard. Like, she doesn't think anything's for that funny. She couldn't breathe because it was just an earth shattering.
That is the perfect way to end the day.
Hadn't been moving for like the previous hour. But then suddenly after this what I would assume to be a corpse fart, because it was just she started moving again.
Like, Mommy, Jesus,
There's room in here now.
she's like, thank you. Now I can move around.
I like went to bed. I went to bed being like impressed with myself.
Yeah.
I just kept thinking about it. Lucas is like, I love you, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah, because I'm great. Did you hear my fart?
Yeah. He's like, what are you doing in there? I was like, I felt like I had surgery. Like, I felt so fucking relieved.
That's so beautiful. I feel like all my laughing is gonna squeeze out my pee.
Okay,
Speaking
sorry.
of bodily function, no, I should just pee the chair. It's
I
plastic.
totally didn't anticipate telling that story, but it was just like, dude, I'm gonna 100% be on my deathbed thinking about that. Like, I've had moments where I'm like, this is gonna be on the recollection list, and that was one of them.
All of your important life moments are flashing before your eyes. That's fucking amazing. I'm glad Ruby was like,
I suddenly want a piece of marble to sculpt how I was laid. Like, I want it forever embodied in like a piece of art, like that moment.
this is something that we can achieve. We can do this.
How do I carve stuff? I don't know.
I'm thinking Han Solo. I'm thinking we need to encase you in carbonite,
Okay.
but just for a few minutes so we
Silly
have that
putty.
shape.
Okay.
But we can do it for sure. That is amazing. Thank you for sharing that fart with us.
Yeah, welcome.
That it's either farts or cum, you know?
Farts are come here on the MAWPOD.
We're always talking about one or the other. Oh, I wanted to tell you what E prime was really quick.
What's E prime?
E prime is a version of English language that excludes all forms of the verb to be. So it's like supposed to be a way that you can write more directly and concisely, because you don't say am, is, was, were, there, be, being, been. And for some reason, finding other verbs that get rid of that verb gets you a lot closer to like what you're actually trying to say.
There was a porn star who said demons live in our language. Connor Habib.
What?
He's a awesome gay porn star who I'll send you. He talks about how like
A compilation reel?
yeah.
Hey, hey-oh.
But he talks about linguistic demons, like when you can't talk fluently and find these beautiful words.
Yeah.
He said that's what keeps us from not evolving. And I was like, I fucking feel that, man.
That is so cool.
Because on the days where you're on it and you are poetically speaking and communicating in a way that you're like, oh man, I'm on fire, you feel elevated.
Absolutely.
So how did you come across that?
It was in the Robert Anton Wilson mentioned it. E prime.
Damn.
I don't know why he said E
Write
prime.
that down.
Yeah, it's capital E dash prime. It's just like another version of English without any bullshit.
How did that make you feel reading that?
It made me want to start constructing sentences and see if I could, how easy it was to access that other echelon. I don't know. I can't form any sentences right now. No sentences are coming to mind.
She's got pee in the brain. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Hi,
Thank
Hannah.
you.
Bye, Hannah. I don't know. I wish I could see who's on here. I can't. But
You can't?
no, I can only see when somebody says something, but I can't see like
Hannah was with us?
Magic. I'm assuming one of the people is Magic Toast.
Magic Toast.
What is up, Magic Toast?
He has the greatest faith. He has great faith.
Bye, guys.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.